And she made this thing called a half and half, making it legal by asking permission by own, but it is a highly treasonous act. She's not allowed to do that. She is not allowed, just like in Sweden. My friend and I here, we
not allowed to do what specifically?
She is not allowed to attend the Bilderberg meeting, just like the Logan Act in America forbids the same.
Diplomatic treason.
It's diplomatic treason. It's diplomatic treason, and in Sweden it would give, if the law was followed and the press did their work and the oppositional parties, they would be sentenced for 10 years to life in Swedish prisons. And I'm talking about Carl Bildt. This year he's coming. He's a politician and he's elected and he's being paid to serve the people. And he's here committing treason, political treason according to Swedish law.
And who is this?
Carl Bildt.
And Stefan Löfven.
What's his position? Prime Minister?
Foreign Minister.
He's a foreign minister.
Okay.
He's also a member of the CFR.
Carl Bildt.
Yeah, Carl Bildt, yeah.
Member of?
He was in RAND and the Trilateral Commission.
He's been in the RAND.
The CFR.
Yeah, I know who Carl Bildt is.
He's a major player. I mean, you can go to the YouTube and you can find him making statements in 1992 where he in the International Press Club in New York is asked the question what is necessary for the New World Order to be implemented and to be successful. And in 1992, a very young and skinny Carl Bildt is claiming clearly that it's necessary to destroy everything else, first of all.
And you were saying, okay, Bilderberg meets in Greece 2009. By the next year, Greece went down.
Yeah, and then came Sitkes in Spain, and then Spain went down. And then they came to Switzerland, and we haven't seen any downfall. But what we have seen is that within months, Switzerland by themselves bound the Schweizer franc, the currency of Switzerland, to the euro, which is like having a totally safe and seaworthy ship.
Is that the franc, the Swiss franc?
The Swiss franc is their own currency.
They tied it to the euro?
They tied it to the euro, and that's exactly, in my meaning, it's like you have a totally seaworthy ship, you have an ocean-going tow boat, and you go up to the Titanic, and you claim to throw your anchor into the boat, and put every rope you have to the boat, so that you make totally sure that if the fucking Titanic goes down, you will go with it. And this is treason. This is total treason, and it's like, I don't remember what it is, but it's treason from inside. It's a Swiss person, a Swiss politician, who's opening the door to the enemy at night, serving the globalists.
Which, of course, is what Dominique tried.
He tried to stop it, yes, and expose it. And Dominic also tried to get in some ways. He tried to get in, and he also, as far as I know, tried to make a citizen's arrest. He was talking about that.
Yeah, so they'll let this lifeguard woman in, but they won't let him in. They invite her, but they keep him out.
Yes.
Okay. So Carl Bildt is breaking the same law, much like a Logan Act?
The exact like the Logan Act.
And the Swiss have that law too?
As far as I know, yes.
That they'd be committing treason by meeting in private with all these...
With no insight whatsoever. I mean, who's let in? Nobody. Yeah. And my friend Bosse here, who's also here, and who was also in San Moritz, we made, without bragging, we made historical, Bosse has made 2 historical events. The first one was that he got, through a friend, he got an article into a Swedish mainstream newspaper called Dalarna with a square, with a fact square where it says openly, it quotes the Swedish law where it says that they are committing treason. I can say it to you now in Swedish, but it will make no difference.
Do you have those Swedish laws on your websites?
We can find that very easily. My friend will. But listen, my brother and friend here, he made another historical thing. But first of all, we broke the mainstream silence, making it clear for the first time, to my knowledge, that it is absolute treason what is being done in here now, according to Swedish law, according to the Logan Act. And we got that
Swiss
out.
law
and Swiss law.
Are you researching all these different national laws to see how many of them have something like the Logan Act?
No, I have not focused on that.
That would be good research right there.
It would absolutely.
Of all the nations they represent in there,
yes.
how many of them have laws that are like something like the Logan Act? Of course, the Logan Act is an old law. That doesn't invalidate it.
No.
A lot of these other nations probably have laws that aren't that old. The Logan Act goes back to the 1790s. you wonder about
But treason is treason.
treason
no
is
matter
treason,
time.
right? Whether the law was passed 10 years ago or 2,000 years ago, so to speak, and so that would be good research. Like, do 10 nations have such laws? Do 15 nations have such laws? And most of them are Europe and North America. How many of those nations have laws like that in place? I'm going to look that up tonight.
Thank you very much.
And I wonder what I'd look under. What would you suggest? What key words? Treason laws. I wonder how that'd be categorized. But it would have to do with secret.
Well, the Logan Act will be for you from America. Will be everything.
Yeah, but I need more. I want to know what other nations have laws in any way like the Logan Act. Maybe even better than the Logan Act. The Logan Act has some obscure language in it. I wonder.
So does the Swedish,
Yeah.
because it says. It makes there is an ending of this law, this text that says that it is hurting the nation in some way, and since we cannot prove it, because we cannot prove what's going on inside, then the law can never be used.
Are you sure the Swiss franc was tied to the euro right after the Bilderberg meeting? There, are you pretty clear on that?
I'm pretty clear on that.
Yeah, that's very significant. Is the pound tied to the euro?
I don't know. I don't
Even though the British maintained the pound, even though they're part of the, Britain's part of the European Union, but they kept the pound. They didn't go to the euro. Isn't that right? They're actually
That's true.
they're in the Europe. They're a member of the European Union, but they kept the pound as their currency. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Well, the UK, they don't really call it Britain anymore per se.
Can I please mention the second historical thing that my friend Bosse Jonsson has done? He has in Sweden created a new party.
He gave me that earlier.
Yeah. But the thing is that, let me say what is historical. It's not historical to create a new party. What is absolutely new is that he and that party that is very quickly being a mainstream party in Sweden. I mean, out in the small parties I'm talking, of course. But they are the first here. It's the first political party in Sweden, maybe in the world, but definitely in Sweden. It's absolutely the first party that is openly declaring the resistance against the Bilderberg group.
Yeah, he was just getting into that this morning when we had to stop talking and pay attention to something else. Mm-hmm. And that's the next thing I was going to ask Bo.
Thank you very much.
The connection to the Bilderberg. So they're the first ones in Sweden and possibly worldwide.
I think I would say, if I was to put my money, I would say it's worldwide. You mentioned one other party that had the balls to stand up.
Well, they say the UK Independent Party through Nigel Farage.
Nigel is very, very strong. Maybe I'm making him wrong. Maybe Nigel is already there.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Nigel Farage. He's been there for a long time.
He tends to make offhand remarks about Bilderberg, though. He doesn't really get into the sinew of it, the detail. Okay. He just tends to make kind of flippant remarks. Oh yeah, they're kind of snobbish bunch, aren't they? Sort of things like that.
That is definitely it's a non-statement.
Yeah.
Compared to what the Party of the Free is making very, very obviously clear that this is unacceptable. This is treason, and it's a part of the political agenda. As far as I understand, it's part of the agenda. Not only that, other important things.
Yesterday we started asking questions. What are those white lines in the sky? Can someone please tell us what it is? I know what it is, but it's good to
so the party
have a soft.
is making an explicit position against Bilderberg as part of its
100%
platform.
heels down.
Not just statements, but part of the platform.
Yeah.
Part of the platform. As long as we have this Bilderberg thing going on, we cannot.
The first
do
point
else.
on our program is to leave the EU.
Yeah.
That's the first point, and then second is to how to say, forbid the fractional reserve banking.
Thank you.
Leave EU, forbid fractional reserve.
Small government, decentralize as much as possible, even the police. The police for the people, by the people.
And also to bring out all foreign troops.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're seeing here, which is so much more obvious here in Britain, to see these young men who are being sent out to fight wars in Afghanistan and everywhere. I mean, I would like to ask the question. We have people, young men, serving from Denmark, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and I would like to ask, are those countries per definition at war? Are we living in countries who obviously looks peaceful, but are we in reality at war? since we send foreign troops to foreign countries to fight.
Yeah, in a conflict where your country doesn't actually say you're at war, they just throw these troops into the imbroglio.
Yes.
You know. How many Swedish troops are sent to?
I think we are per capita one of maybe the most active country in the world. I think
I'd
per
say so.
capita when it comes to having troops in foreign countries. So this question is very serious for the Swedish public, and we don't see it. And we have a voluntary army now. So all the men who are going because they like it.
I was speaking to RT. Like
Or it's
week
what's
ago.
called the poverty draft. In America,
you
the
can say
jobs
that.
are so bad that they join the army by default because they promise them
Listen,
education.
Mark, I'm afraid that does not. I mean, we're talking. I saw information on internet the other day that almost half of the Americans are under the poverty line.
Yeah.
It's an incredible amount of Americans who are poor today. So when you talk about poverty draft, that does not apply in Sweden. I'm afraid not, because you see them there, pumped
No,
up, man. They have all the balls.
I was asking whether that was a factor, and you're saying it's not. so there, it's more of the machismo, the macho.
That's
thing.
what
Okay.
that makes me, because I can have empathy with a man who's starving and who goes to feed his family or whatever.
Yeah.
This I can find empathy in my heart for. But if you go because you've been fed up with video games and because it's a part of a machismo and all this shit, then it's absolutely despicable in my
Then you're being a lowbrow, really. You
Yeah.
know. You're being gullible, and you're acting on pure impulse. Interesting.
Also, I would like to say that every camera here, every camera here, including all the microphones, are running on lithium batteries, right? And where's the lithium coming from? It's coming
Afghanistan.
from Afghanistan. Afghanistan is the major supplier of lithium in the world. So, and you cannot sell anything today. Not a tool can be sold if it's not electric on battery. I know that because I'm
Did
a
Sweden
craftsman.
send troops to Iraq too, not just Afghanistan?
Only psyops.
Yeah, only
Same as Libya. They were sending
Hey, brother.
psyops. You know,
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I
psyops
need to
troops
say hello
like.
to you.
Oh, psyops.
Good
Yeah.
seeing you again. Good. Thank you. Yeah. But what I need to say also is that the latest new founded military unit in Sweden is a PSYOP unit. I have to mind myself really not to use foul language, because I'm furious about that. They have taken in women and men from public relations in Sweden and put them in uniforms, and now they're going to go side by side with the CIA to make up lies about why people are being killed everywhere. This is absolutely despicable. This is it's so bad that Sweden has done that. It's such a prostitution, and that it's being boosted, and now we are doing this and that. I spit on it. It's very bad. It's a bad example to the world. It's a very despicable
Ways to rationalize the killing, ways to...
It's only lies.
Yeah.
That's what they say it's about. It's to promote a positive attitude, which is fucking lies, about how can we be in Afghanistan and think it's positive. You know, it's not possible. It's shit everywhere. So how can you make it look like anything? It's no chocolate.
Let me make sure I get your email and stay in touch this time.
You get it. Thank you.
Yeah, and you're... So I want to quote you on some of that stuff.
You can quote me on anything.
Yeah, the part about Bilderberg comes, the country falls, Bilderberg goes somewhere else, they leave their footprints there, that country goes down.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to dig into it a little deeper, but there is a
you.
pattern there. It seems like everywhere they go. Now, so what's going to happen now that they've met here, right?
It's a very, very open question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's coming to Britain?
Right.
And how can we talk to the good people of Watford so they will realize that we are not violent? There was never any violence in any demonstration against the Bilderberg.
Yeah, all the guns are on that side of the fence.
Are you
Exactly.
talking about that side of the fence?
Yeah, yonder.
Wow. It's a very long way up to the hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, let me make sure I read
Shanti Ritam,
SHANTIRITAM at Gmail.
at gmail.com.
And you go by the name of, again,
Shanti Ritam Paramahans.
okay. Is that your proper first name,
It's
Shanti?
given to me by masters from heaven.
Okay, but I mean, if I were to quote your comment,
Then you quote me full, please. Shanti Ritam Paramahansa, right? Maybe you can. I'm too upset. I'm too angry.
I just don't want to butcher your name.
Thank you.
Getting names wrong.
If you butcher me, make sure to have the correct name.
Right.
You do whatever you do, man. But please, well, there is a war going on. You know that.
Yes, it's psychological in a lot of ways.
I mean, even Hillary Clinton says that, and she also claims that they're losing it. That means that we're winning it. Hillary Clinton said a year ago that there is an info war and we're losing it. That's what he said. Establishment is losing it. And that means the underside is that we are winning. But the win for war, I think, is only the first line. And what is behind them, God knows. What comes to the next level. So, if people don't wake up in a friendly manner, we will have to face the next level of this thing. Well, anyway, we had to face the thing here, didn't we? We had to face the metal detectors. They did not ask for passports. That we had to show in Switzerland. But metal detectors. How the fuck am I going to throw anything up to the hotel from here? Can you ask me? I'm pretty strong, but I'm not that strong.
Yeah, you would have to be Hercules himself. If you were, I'd let you throw me.
you can land in there.
And I'd fly in with the camera, and it'd be cool.
That would be very cool.
I was joking. A golf ball with a sensor on it, hit it up there, and it's got a listening device. We're just having fun. I got a mean tee shot, but I don't think I could hit it that far.
Wow. I think my sister's man could. He's Australian. No, he's New Zealand.
I come from a golfing family. I could probably get it halfway there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Probably right about where the spiffy little yellow road barrier is.
You know, when I heard that you were here when Pussy said it, it put such joy in my heart.
Well, good.
I'm very happy.
Well, the reverse is true. You got a lot of passion, and you're obviously very watchful of the trends, and that's important. You know, the way these people, again, they wipe their feet on these countries and they soil their economies. What happened in Cyprus is obviously a spin-off of what happened in Greece. You know, the Cyprus, that banking crisis. You know, it's the contagion. You know, the spin-off of what they did to Greece and what they did to Spain. Of course, Portugal's right there as part of Spain. So what happened to Spain obviously bled over into Portugal, and then Ireland, they forced them to vote themselves into slavery. You know, I love the way the elite conducts elections. Oh, you don't like what you're getting? Well, we want you to vote yes. You know, we'll let you vote yourself into slavery.
I cannot say that I love it. I cannot, even within, the godlike thing that be loveful and blah, blah. I hate the way they do that. I'm Danish, and I know for a fact that when it came to voting for the EU, they forced the Danish people 3 times to vote.
That's what I'm talking about.
First time the Danes said no. Another vote. Another, Second time the Danes said no, fuck no, we are not going into the EU. Third, again, and inside. And after you had the Danish head of state saying that we would have taken as many as it necessary to get the people on the knees. Right on, fuck them.
No, you have a try and have a vote to get out.
Good.
You won't get one.
No, not
you can
even
have
one.
as many votes as you want to get in.
So you're a Danish descent, but you live in Sweden. Is
Yeah,
that right?
that's right. I came to Sweden as a child.
Did Sweden vote for the EU, or
Yeah, we're in.
Was it done by vote or by
By
statute?
vote. By vote.
Okay.
Very.
One vote, 2 votes, 3 votes?
It was like 50, 51, 47, 53,
No, I mean,
47.
was there one election or
One election.
Yeah.
They didn't vote 3
No,
times?
no,
like
they
the
didn't
Danes?
have to.
1994.
But I tell you what,
But it was a close call.
Yeah.
All the parties went together. It was so obvious, the 2 oppositions, the right and the Social Democrats, everybody went like wolves, whoop, 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 whoop. And as soon as the heads were done and we were in, they went back into opposition. But man, they were pushing like wolves.
I wonder what they must offer these people to get them to all agree to this. The
A
kind
place
of
in hell again.
the coercion that must go on. There's nothing they could do to make me vote for that if I was a part of a party. There isn't anything they could give me, tell me, or tell. I mean, there's no way I would vote for it, ever. I mean, I wonder how they coerce these people.
Well, my studies, if they don't go voluntarily, it seems like it's very easy to intimidate people and threat people.
Well, I think the other half of it is a lot of people are just very easily intimidated.
Yes,
I can tell you wouldn't be.
I hope not.
If it were you.
But again, I mean, if they came to me one night and said, you know, we kept our eyes on you and we know your brother's little girl, I mean, I'm making something very stupid here, making it public. I mean, that is the way it is. If they came to me and said, listen, unless you stop, your brother's daughter is going to have an accident on her way to school. And nobody will know how it happened.
Yeah.
Or they take photographs of me fucking my friend here. And how did they make it? Because they made it with actors. And they publish it on the internet. I mean, it's very easy to intimidate people. It's very, very easy, isn't it? And they create anything. And they use scopolamine. They can make us do anything. They can make us go to bed without knowing it. We're both heterosexual. And they can film it, and we will not know anything about it after, and we will be on the internet. They have means to do things, don't they? I mean, this is we know all this. So I have no hard words to say about people who are intimidated. I think it's one has to be compassionate.
I guess. It seems like there'd be a way to turn the tables on that stuff. I'm just speaking off the cuff, you know. Say like, yeah, oh yeah, really? Well, I'm gonna tarnish you back, you know. You know, I mean, just say, sure, okay. Well, something could happen to your little girl too, couldn't it? You know, maybe you don't mean it, but that's how I would, you know.
I can't go into that because vengeance is not mine in that
No,
sense.
I know, but I mean, I still.
And I also know that they are so more powerful in that. But there is one thing, and that I think is being underestimated, and that is that there is a possibility that we have divine support. There is a possibility that we have angel support. There is there are many, maybe our ancestors, maybe everybody are tired of the tyranny. So I think it's easy to underestimate that we have help, and that the good side may be. There are some opposites between light and darkness, isn't there? I mean, light, very, very
absolutely.
small light can lead everybody a very long way.
Yeah, right. A narrow shaft of light lights a dark room.
Yeah,
That's a good allegory.
And light is overpowering dark in that sense.
It cuts through it
Yeah.
like a knife. Yeah.
I mean, we made a documentary with this man. We made also a very long interview with this man in San Moritz. And he's one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to the Bilderberg group. He supplied Daniel Esterlin with basically all the information for his book. And he said in the end that what we can do against these globalists basically is to love them because they never received love. And maybe it's a way, maybe you put light on the shadow and maybe it's happening.
You know, that it's interesting you say that because I believe it was from Daniel Esterlin's website where I printed out in my bag a gallery of Bilderberg photos of the attendees, some of them who have since passed away. And I was looking at them, going all the way back to John J. McCloy and some of the old guard from America, and Prince Bernhard and people that have attended over the years. You know, and when I looked at them, I did kind of sense, looking at it from a more, if you will, spiritual angle, that they do look like people that, in a way, are the poorest among us. They're materially rich, but impoverished spiritually, almost beyond comprehension. You know, call it lack of love, call it lack of spirituality. People that have everything but what really matters. And in a sense, they're the biggest losers on the planet. You know? And so there you go. I mean, are they really that rich, or are they really, spiritually speaking, which is what matters, literally and utterly impoverished?
When I look into what they do to each other, when I look into what my research tells that they do to their own children, that a father has to sexually abuse his daughter from 6 months to age 3 to prepare this girl for the next level of ultra mind programming, the way they do things to maintain their own bloodlines in power,
Yeah,
How can you do that? How can you do that and have a relationship with your child? How can you be in love? How can you be in truth? It's all lies.
And if this has happened in successive generations, then they're all spawn of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, just kind of a bunch of sad, aging,
very,
stodgy
very sad.
billionaires.
Very,
you know?
very sad, yes.
You know, just what else can you say about it? Maybe pitying them is almost a better approach.
I know that for my own soul, for my own heart, I know that I will not benefit from any negative emotions. I know that. So compassion for me is the best way for self-healing and to be here in a powerful manner. Because if I go into any kind of aggression, or then it will undermine myself.
Or even just simply being antagonistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you find yourself drawn toward that, where you want to really lash out, and then you go, wait a minute, maybe that's not the best way.
We also saw in Switzerland, in St. Moritz, some people coming. There was one man on a motorcycle who looked very much like an ex-cop, and he came up and he started to say a lot of things that I will not repeat, that we were going to do and that we needed to do, blah 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 blah. And I had my little recording what he was saying, and then after he had finished talking about what he thought we should do with him, I said, I just showed this little thing, and he backed off, and I did not see him again.
Right.
I would like to say one more thing, is that the only way to reach people outside, people who don't know what we know, people who need to wake up to what is going on, it never works if you come from anger or fear. It never works. If you need to talk, you need to talk compassionately and gently with people, and come from, because in that case you can talk with people.
Yeah, I think you make some very good points there in terms of the mental framework that this requires. Although, conversely, I think what angers people is that even though you feel sorry for them in a sense, you empathize a little with their spiritual poverty in a sense, you also look at it kind of like when the criminal's at your door, you have to do something in the immediate sense. In other words, if they're going to impoverish one nation after another, if they're going to start or maintain wars, you also feel that impulse to stop the criminal. Not to, to take their hand off the lever, to say, look, we don't want you to do that, and they don't want to listen, and I'm not saying that requires violence, but it does require a certain rebuking of what they're doing.
I wish what you say is so true, and I wish, do you know Bush he's the person he's ex-army, he's an ex-elite soldier, he has a lot of knowledge about, Bush here.
25 kilos ago.
25 kilos ago.
Him?
But yeah. So he knows a lot about what it is to be a soldier. But what he has chosen to do is to go the political way, the democratic way. To play by the rules.
Commendably, yeah.
Very commendable.
To play by the rules that they skirt
break,
around,
that
right?
They totally, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what makes people so wanting to rebuke them, and the way they flout the law and rig the economy and everything. But it's a complex affair. You got the spiritual components, you've got the criminality element that they represent. Everything.
But Mark, make no mistake why I turn up in camouflage. That I turn up like a warrior, because to me there is no doubt that there is a war going on. But I choose my weapons, and I do not choose violence.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's there's no point in that. It's just too bad that they so easily choose violence against innocents across the world. Against the Palestinians, against the Afghans, the Pakistanis. The drone wars are despicable.
Absolutely.
The very use of drones, the way that whole thing is playing out is just absolutely despicable. I mean, if drones were delivering pizzas, that might be nice, but they're not. Hellfire missiles instead of pizzas, right?